Hello, my friends. It is the Agree to Disagree Sports Pod. We're back. We are absolutely back. So, the last time I was on here, I had braces. Football was in the middle of the season. Basketball had just kind of started up. But now here we are. I don't have braces. I still have amazing hair. It's the Super Bowl. We're 8 days away from the trade deadline in the NBA. It's the All-Star break in the NHL. I mean, what isn't going on in the sports world right now? But regardless, I think that let me reply to this text, because that's just such a wholesome thing. What else can I say? It's not that podcast. I don't really give a damn. I'm just on here to yap about basketball. Speaking of basketball, that's all I'm going to talk about today, because we have a lot of trade talks and stuff like that going on. I got a bunch of names and a bunch of stuff to talk about. It's been happening the past couple of days, even weeks, because it's been 2 months since I've been on the podcast. But regardless, we're gonna talk about it all. So, funny thing, I actually shot this episode yesterday, planning to upload it today, because I want to start uploading once and have upload on Saturdays. And I recorded, and I was like, all right, time to edit this thing. And then the audio sounded absolutely dog shit. But the thing is that my input device on my computer was through my fucking webcam for whatever fucking reason, not my $150 microphone. So that was just great. So here I am recording this episode again, but at the same time, I don't care. I'm here to talk basketball, so let's get into it. So, the other night, this was kind of the main talking point of my, not really the main talking point, but huge point of my episode last go around, is that the Lakers, the last time they were on an NBA floor, they absolutely ran the Boston Celtics, but without Braun and AD. The Lakers shot 51% from three, which they never do. They are, if not the worst, three-point shooting team in basketball. They have no spacing, and with LeBron and AD on the floor, I think it makes things very cluttered. And to see them go out, Austin Reeves has 32 points. You get a near triple-double from D'Angelo Russell, even though he shot very inefficiently. We got to give him a pass. So, yeah, I'm still drinking Oliver Palmer. I really want that sponsorship. I'm beating for it. So yeah, that kind of you can see the things that have like the Twitter and all this stuff that's kind of spawned out of that game. Is LeBron going to be traded? Is LeBron asking for a trade? Because we saw he tweeted an hourglass the other day, but that was probably because he got a sponsorship with DraftKings. Shout out to DraftKings. No particular reason, of course. And but then Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, came out and said, and I quote, "We do not want to be traded, and we aren't asking to be." So, but I think it's kind of a fun idea to toy with the idea that the second greatest player of all time, in my opinion, could be traded. What does a package for a 39-year-old superstar look like? Where does he want to go? What would we get out of him? Let's say, obviously, you guys saw, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago maybe, that Stephen A. said, if LeBron want to win a championship, he's going to come to the Knicks. LeBron is not going to no damn New York Knicks. Let's be real. What are the Lakers looking for if they trade for LeBron? Are they looking for draft capital? Are they looking for a superstar? Because we know how the Lakers like to name chase, and they keep their big market going. And I said and so many times, but I'm not here to give a professional speech. So, I digress. Lakers, what are you looking for in LeBron? I think their plan, Rob Pelinka's plan, is try to build around Anthony Davis. Obviously, we know when AD's on the floor, when AD's healthy, he's playing at a very high level. We've seen the past season, even in the playoffs last year, especially against the Grizzlies, against the Warriors. AD was absolutely hooping. And this year, he's been absolutely hooping. He's obviously an all-star. And, yeah, I don't know what the Lakers would want from someone like LeBron. Obviously, we know now that he's not going to be traded. So that kind of sucks, I guess. And maybe, what are the Lakers fans thinking? Do they want LeBron out? Do they want LeBron to stay? I'm sure they're that, because Twitter is absolutely fucking nuts, and Lakers fans are nuts in general. So I have no idea what they want. Half of the Lakers fan base are just LeBron fans. Let's be real. So if LeBron gets traded, where do you want to see him go? What would they get out of him? I think it would be mostly draft capital and probably an all-star or better, because the Lakers would name change to try and stay relevant. Now, more Lakers talk. Against the Celtics, Jared Vanderbilt got hurt, unfortunately. That guy, I think, is one of the Lakers' kind of not franchise cornerstones, but someone they should look to keep around for the future. Obviously, I think the other night he had like 10, 7, and 4. He plays good defense. He doesn't take many shots. He shoots at a high volume. Like, he's a very, very reliable player for the Lakers, and the fact that he's out several weeks with a foot injury is very hurtful, especially when the Lakers are sitting at directly 25-25 midway through the season. And I think they're still on the fringe of, like, I don't know if on the fringe of the play-in or where they're at. Let me check the standings real quick. Obviously tonight, big game against the Knicks for them. Excuse me. As it stands right now, the Lakers are the 9th seed, sitting behind the Mavs and the Pels. So, that's that, I guess. V8, get well soon. Shout out to him. And now, let's talk about something that happened quite a while ago at this point. The Terry Rozier trade. Miami went out and traded Kyle Lowry, and I think a first. Might have been a second. Kyle Lowry is a draft capital. They traded him to Charlotte for Terry Rozier. Obviously, like, when that trade came out, everyone was like, it's such a W for the Heat. Finally, they can get some off the bench or some scoring that they really, really need. Because obviously, we know the Miami Heat, they're going to sit down in the chair. They're going to play defense. They're going to play for each other. They play for that culture. They play for, they play for the jersey. So, having someone like Terry Rozier, who was averaging 22, like, when he was in Charlotte, is, pretty good deal, considering you're dumping off a 37-year-old Kyle Lowry at $40 million. So you can't complain about that. But when Rozier got there, they went, like he said, like, no one is fine with losing here in Miami. But in Charlotte, that's the DNA. They like to lose. I mean, that's what they've been doing for the past 10 years. I mean, Kemba, obviously, Kemba had his time to shine, but fortunately that is long gone. So yeah, when Rozier got there, they went on a 7-game losing streak, but they just beat the Kings and they just beat the Wizards. So the Miami's on the up and up for the most part. I don't really know what their next game looks like. They play Sunday against the Clippers on ESPN. That's such a weird time though. 6 p.m. ESPN. Like, I feel like the ESPN window, it's gonna be like a 3:30, or 7:30, maybe 8:30 if you're really feeling greedy, or 10 o'clock. That's just me. But regardless, so the Miami Heat have a really tough test, and the Clippers coming up. Rozier, he's been okay so far in a Heat jersey. I mean, you can't really complain about what he does. Nothing really crazy. He's going to go out, he's going to get you some buckets. Like, against the Wizards, looking at his stat line, 15, 8, and 5 on 2 for 13, and 0 for 6 from 3. In Miami, hasn't really had any stellar performances except against Phoenix, which they lost. So, there's obviously that. And Kyle Lowry, an interesting name. Obviously, he's very old, but he's still a reliable basketball player, in my opinion. He can space the floor a little bit. He can make those kind of passes that you'd want. He's obviously a veteran presence in a locker room, especially like Charlotte. I mean, I doubt they keep him. I would put my house on it that they buy out his contract and ship him somewhere else. I feel like, funnily enough, I feel like the Lakers are actually a real landing spot for Kyle Lowry. So I feel like the Lakers could definitely use someone like him. Someone who would, get those boys in line, keep them in line. Someone who's not LeBron, who's, I don't know, in my opinion, he's just kind of like a 39-year-old man-child. He's not, I don't know. Obviously, I think LeBron is a good leader because he's won championships as the best player, so you have to be kind of a decent leader to do that. AD, he's AD. I don't know. I think he seems like kind of a quiet guy, I guess. I feel like that's really wrong. But that's just what I got. So yeah, there's that. Let's move in to another trade that just happened. Steven Adams is on his way to Houston for Victor Oladipo, and I think 2 seconds and for a couple seconds and maybe a first. I don't know. Regardless, surprising move in my opinion for the Grizzlies. Obviously, we know that their season has been an absolute train wreck. John Morant suspended the first 25 games, comes back, he's on an absolute tear. He's tearing it up for like 4 or 5 games, I think, and then he tears his labrum and he's out for the year. And obviously, yeah, it's been a huge struggle over there in Memphis. I don't hope they can rewrite their ship because I actually hate them. Yeah, I don't like them. So, but Steven Adams is a guy everyone can rock with. I think Steven Adams University has 0 haters. If you hate Steven Adams, I feel like you just don't like basketball. You know what I mean? So there's that. Steven Adams, obviously, I think is 30, 31. How old is Steven Adams? He's 30. Sweet. So, yeah, honestly, not really on the, like, he's on the, getting to the back end of his career, and I feel like he's he's a 10-10 player, and I think he's looked to as one of the most valuable leadership assets in maybe even in the whole NBA. He's a very likable guy, and I feel like in Houston is especially where they could use that. Obviously, you have Uncle Jeff Green. Ime Udoka is obviously a very capable coach, even though they've been kind of underperforming in my opinion. I feel like this team should be much, much better than it is. But when you have, someone like Jalen Green, who's averaging about 18 points, I think this is their second or third year, I think. I don't care to really fact check that. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. You have Jabari Smith. This is his second year. So this is Jalen Green's third year, of course. So yeah. Cam Whitmore, he's a wild card. You never know what you're gonna get from that guy. He's either a 2-point player or he's a 25-point player. So Houston, I think Steven Adams definitely can provide some depth at the center position because who else? Like, who is their other center besides LP? Who do they got? I'm actually curious now. Obviously, I think the Rockets just pulled out a win yesterday against the Raptors, who have their own struggles, of course. You can't really hate on that. Centers. I guess they're playing Jeff Green at center, and they have Jock Landale. And I guess I don't know. They have CBS Sports is low-key off a beam. They got Jeff Green listed as center and power forward. They got Cam Whitmore listed as small forward, power forward. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest with you. They even got Tari Eason listed as a 5. Speaking of Tari Eason, I'm a huge fan of what Tari Eason does. He hasn't played in a while. I think he's been injured, but when he's on the court, I think the Rockets are a much better team. He provides so much versatility, and I really like what the kid does. So there's that. And Amen Thompson has also been very underwhelming in my opinion. Him and his brother are polar. They're literally the exact same person, just with a different name. Go figure, they're twins, but they play the exact same. And I think Ime should definitely look about getting him some more minutes. I feel like both of them have so much potential. It's actually insane. I feel like if Ime would just run more sets for him, or get him involved in more actions, he could actually blossom into quite the player. Being the 4th overall pick, you feel like you'd want to get him involved a little bit more. But I digress. I don't know. Can I see how many minutes? Amen's getting at most he's the most his high in minutes this season was 28. So he'll get 8 here, 19 there, 10 there. I don't really know. So the Rockets to definitely underperforming in my opinion. The whole reason I'm talking about them is obviously for Steven Adams. And recently I saw on Twitter is that Jalen Green's name has generated some buzz on the market. So obviously Jalen Green, 2nd overall pick 3 years ago. So he is a very interesting player. He has a lot of potential in my opinion, but he definitely has not hit the ceiling that everyone expected him to hit. Obviously in year 3 now, you have guys who are Cade Cunningham. I think Cade is miles better than Jalen, and I think Cade is just in a really bad situation. I feel like Cade is a very great player, very capable. He's extremely versatile. He can do almost anything on the basketball court. And when you have a 2nd overall pick averaging only 18 points per game as your Jalen Green, that's their that's make no mistake, that is their guy. That is their go-to. And when he's not even averaging 20 points per game, I feel like you're kind of just in a losing scenario there. Now, to kind of go back to the LeBron thing, is you have a 39-year-old superstar over here. What's his deal look like? When you have a 21-year-old budding star, whatever you want to call Jalen Green, what does that package look like? Who's going after him? Do you think, do we think that Brooklyn can be in the market? Maybe, like, I don't even know. I highly, highly doubt that Houston would go out and trade Jalen Green today. Especially, maybe closer to the actual deadline, which is, I think, 8 days. Not 7 days, maybe. Maybe they look to move him somewhere. I doubt it. I don't know what the prognosis is on him. So I feel like realistically, if they do look to trade him, I feel like Brooklyn is the only like reasonable, realistic outcome as far as the Jalen Green trade. I don't really know who else would look. Hell, maybe Detroit looks to trade fucking Killian Hayes and goddamn Bojan for Jalen. I really have no idea. But it's just interesting to kind of draw that idea around. Maybe Jalen Green gets moved somewhere. I highly doubt it, but regardless, yeah, Jalen Green generating some buzz. So, speaking about Brooklyn, they appear to be having a fire sale over there because you have people like Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton, maybe Ben Simmons. Yeah, Ben Simmons he's something to say the least. But yeah, pretty much like the whole front court in Brooklyn is on the trade block. We've seen a multitude of teams interested in Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal. I think the Mavericks are the highest. I think that they're coveting DFS the most, trying to reunite them. Reunite those two parties. DFS, he's solid. He grabs boards. He can shoot threes. I'm sure he's all right at defense. I don't really know. I haven't watched much Brooklyn this year. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So obviously, in Dallas when DFS was there, he's had a couple good games, and obviously they traded him for Kyrie, so has to be somewhat valuable in the Nets' opinion. So maybe if they look to send him back to Dallas, maybe that adds some more versatility, more a different look for Dallas. Maybe Jason Kidd is looking to bring Dorian Finney-Smith back into the fold. So there's that. Royce O'Neal as well. I feel like he's linked to damn near every team in the Western Conference. I think everyone's looking at him. Royce O'Neal, nothing really special there. Spot up shooter, and he's decent at his job. Great, he'll get you a rebounder too. He'll provide a good pass. He's an old veteran, so I feel like if you're really, the asking price there is cheap. Probably a second, 2 seconds maybe. Maybe just like you throw Brooklyn. Actually, no, that's kind of disrespectful. The Jazz traded him for a first-round pick, so he's decent. I feel like Brooklyn could probably get at most 2 or 3 seconds out of him. So there's that. And Nick Claxton. When I think of Nick Claxton, I think of a guy who's just really always angry on 2K. You go on 2K, you do a Brooklyn Nets rebuild, you do anything with the Brooklyn Nets, you can't keep Claxton around. He's always pissed off. I don't know what's up with him. So Nick Claxton, I feel like definitely should be if you're another GM and you see that Nick Claxton's on the market, I feel like you should definitely get on the horn, get on the phone there with Brooklyn. He could slide anywhere. He has vastly improved his game from the time he was a rookie. He hasn't been in the league that long, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's improved his defense. His interior scoring has, I feel like, gotten much better. He plays with a certain ever since he cut his hair, since he got rid of those dreads or whatever he used to have. I'm not sure. I don't even I vividly remember his old hairstyle. But yeah, he plays the game the right way. I value an athlete like Nick Claxton, so I feel like teams should definitely get on the phone with Brooklyn. But their Brooklyn's kind of star player, Mikal Bridges, is not being included in any deals. The Nets are not listening to any offers that include Mikal Bridges. I just saw some earlier today that a trade package included 5 first-round picks, and Brooklyn had 0 interest in taking it. So that's extremely interesting, if you ask me. And yeah, that's really all there is to Brooklyn. They're just looking to. I feel like if I'm the general manager, I feel like you. I mean, if someone offered me 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, you gotta take it. You know, Houston's got your first-round picks for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't even know how many years it is. You got a couple. You know, you got a couple bullshit picks from Phoenix and Dallas from trading Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which is, in my opinion, just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, you know, they're thriving over there in the West, so there's that. Yeah, I think they should definitely blow it up. If they hear anything else as far as Mikal Bridges, I am, you know, me personally, I'm just pulling the trigger. Mikal, go have fun somewhere else. Go be a star somewhere else because we know he's more than capable. Nick Claxton, I don't really know. If Brooklyn wants to trade for someone like, who was I just talking about? I literally observed Jalen Green. Maybe they throw Daron Sharp, DFS, Royce O'Neal, some picks. Maybe they get Jalen Green out of that. Zach LaVine even. I feel like the Zach LaVine asking price these days is marginally cheaper than it would have been 2 or 3 years ago because I feel like Zach LaVine's name has been on the trade market since Jesus turned water into wine. So there's always that. Continuing on, I guess now we can kind of talk about the Bulls. Well, I should have mentioned this earlier. Someone else I think is a big name, not really a big name. He's an award-winning guy. Plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. Marcus Smart. Obviously, former Defensive Player of the Year, even though I think Mikal Bridges should have won it that year. Yeah, obviously he's definitely fallen from the graces of his former Defensive Player of the Year self. And the Lakers and Bucks are showing heavy interest in him. The Lakers obviously are linked to every name under the sun, but the Bucks, I feel like if Marcus Smart's available, I feel like you gotta get on the phone immediately. Obviously, you have Dame, who doesn't really play defense. Obviously, we just saw something today. I just saw something today about how he's kind of just upset. Obviously, Dame's going through a divorce, a bunch of kids. I mean, you know, basketball is not really, you know, front and center on his mind right now apparently. So I feel like you know, get well soon. I don't know. Feel better, Dame. Obviously, you know, that's my guy. You guys know. I bleed for the Portland Trail Blazers and more so Damian Lillard than the Blazers. But regardless, shout out to him. So yeah, the Bucks defense has been a, you know, kind of the elephant in the room over there. The Bucks' last 2 games under Doc Rivers have looked less than spectacular. Obviously, they got ran out the gym by the defending champions, and then they lose to, funnily enough, my Portland Trail Blazers and Damian Lillard's return. So, watching that game, just kind of side note here, watching that game made me so mad. Like, on one hand, you know, Damian Lillard, like, that's my guy. I'm always right for Dame. But on the other hand, I'm a Blazers fan, so I don't really know who to root for. Like, watching that game, Dame just hucking up shots, they're not falling. And Scoot Henderson had a great first half, so I was happy with that. But Dame's playing like shit, so I don't really know. And like, when it came down to crunch time, you had Damian Lillard on the floor, who's without a doubt one of the clutchest players in NBA history. He's been the clutchest player in the league. I don't know. He's one of the clutchest players in the league since he came into the league, and one of the clutch players of all time. He doesn't know what to say. But yeah, you have Dame on the floor. Even if he's not having a good night, he can still hit the big shot. We've seen that a multitude of times. A myriad of times, if you will. And you have Brook Lopez taking a fucking sidestep 3 for the game? To tie it even? Are you dumb? Like, Doc Rivers is a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I know the Bucks are like a 32-15 team right now, whatever their record, 32 and something like that, something crazy. So obviously they're still well above 500. They are. I think the mindset in Milwaukee is championship or bust, and that's kind of I think why they fired Adrian Griffin. The previous Bucks head coach, I don't even remember his name. I know his name was Adrian though. So they hired Doc Rivers, who's he's a coach, I guess. He's got like like 1,800 games under his belt. He's won like 1,000-something games. So he's got a good winning record. Obviously, we know he's won a championship, and he's notorious for choking in the second round or not being able to get past the second round. So it's very interesting that the Bucks were on jumped the gun and hired him as soon as possible. Like, I feel like the rumors about him being hired and the actual hiring of Doc Rivers were like within hours of each other. So there's that, I guess. But yeah, watching that game made me so angry. Like, Chauncey Billups coached fucking circles around Doc Rivers. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, that just personally pissed me off. I don't know. I don't know about the Bucks fans. I'm not really a Bucks fan. I just like Dame. So I don't know. As a guy who's got no skin in the game over there, I don't even know. Doc Rivers is an idiot. So now, let's get into the bulk of this episode. Let's talk about the biggest names. This is kind of just, obviously next week, I feel like I'll definitely be bringing up this topic again because we'll actually see who's going to be getting traded. Because isn't the deadline on the 10th? I'm pretty sure it's the 10th, regardless. So let's talk about all the huge names and all the names that have been that I haven't mentioned yet and that are kind of bigger names that I've mentioned so far. So the biggest name on the trade market, same as LeBron, has so far been DeJounte Murray. Obviously, Atlanta has been it's been a struggle ever since they traded for him. Obviously, you mortgage a good package for DeJounte Murray. I think like 4 first-round picks, and I don't remember who they traded player-wise, but it was a hefty package. And obviously, the output that they've gotten has been less than stellar. Haven't really had a winning season. I think they got the they got them the plan. They lost to the Bulls or the Heat. Well, yeah, regardless, I think they made the play last year and they lost. So yeah, the DeJounte Murray experiment has been a failure in my opinion. DeJounte Murray is without a doubt an all-star caliber player, and Trae Young has been an all-star in my opinion, should have been an all-star the past 2 years now. But something's just not clicking. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but regardless, it's not working, and I feel like the mutual agreement between both parties that is it's time to move on. The only untouchable pieces in Atlanta right now are Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, which rightfully so in my opinion. But even when you trade DeJounte Murray, I'm not really sure what you're getting out of him. You might get D'Angelo Russell. That might be the biggest thing that you can garner out of a trade package for DeJounte Murray. In my opinion, that's really not what you're looking for. I feel like they should look, I feel like Brooklyn could be a landing spot for him. The Lakers, you trade DeJounte Murray to the Lakers, I don't really know what they're offering you. They might, you have D'Angelo Russell, that's probably the best outcome for them. Even the Knicks, I've seen the Knicks be a landing spot for DeJounte Murray. What do you get out of that? You get Miles McBride, Jericho Sims. You get a couple, you get some draft capital out of them, and DeJounte can slide into that 2 spot. And obviously that's starting line will be dirty. Maybe Mitchell Robinson's in that deal. I doubt it though with Clint Capella and you have Onyeka. I'm not really sure, but imagine Brunson, Murray, Anunoby, Randall, Robinson. That's some serious shit over there. So there's a hypothetical there. The Lakers, the Lakers are obviously linked to every single name in the history of forever, as I've mentioned multiple times. But yeah, the Hawks, I think it's time to move on for sure. I think they definitely need to blow it up, and I commission the rebuild because the talent in this draft class is, there's no shortage of talent here. So if you wanna blow it up, I think now's the time. I don't know if Trae Young's on the way out. I'm not really sure what is his mindset in all this. Obviously, they just beat the Suns the other night, and they're 10th in the East. So it's not great over there. And Trae Young, I feel like he should ask out. Maybe not even. Obviously they just signed him to a 6-year deal, so I feel like asking out, or maybe just maybe the front office just straight up trades him. I have no idea. But yeah. So, speaking of the Lakers, again, D'Angelo Russell and Gabe Vincent are some names that we've seen be thrown around the trade, the trade spiral, or whatever you want to call it. Gabe Vincent, obviously, I'm going to talk about him first. He was a integral piece to the Miami Heat championship run last season. And the things he did in the playoffs were absolutely magical. He had huge games in the finals, throughout the course of the whole playoffs. He was just an absolute star. And then he signed for the Lakers kind of like on the low, like for a low deal. It was like 3 years, I think maybe $40 million, something like that. Someone can correct me, of course. But yeah, there's that. Gabe Vincent has been underperforming the entire year, and I feel like the writing was kind of on the wall for them. I mean, you play for LeBron, and if you're not up to his standards, you're not up to the Lakers' standards, then I feel like you're kind of destined to get traded. So he's been, I think Gabe Vincent's been injured the past couple of games. We haven't seen him on the floor in a while. I kind of look at this game live. I'm actually interested as to what the last thing he did was. So we got Lakers injuries. Gabe Vincent's supposed to be out till February 14th. Yeah, this year Gabe Vincent is averaging 5-3-1. The last time he played was December 20th against Chicago, where he had 14 minutes, had 3 points, 1 board, and 3 assists. I mean, yeah, Gabe Vincent's played a total of 5 games this season with a season high of 9 points. So I'm not really sure if they look to move on from him, but yeah, it's been unfortunate to say the least for I don't even know what I'm trying to say, for Gabe Vincent. Now, D'Angelo Russell, we saw the rumors about him being traded, and then the man absolutely started playing out of his mind. Like, he had a streak of games where he just, is 30, 27, 28, 30, 29. He's been playing out of his mind for the past week or two. And obviously, like 2 days ago against the Celtics, he had a near triple-double. So, and that's something you don't see from D'Lo often, I don't think. And yeah, I don't really know where they would trade D'Lo. I think Brooklyn is a realistic spot. Atlanta obviously is a realistic spot. The Lakers could look to get back. I mean, I think everyone saw who's watching that 3-team trade. D'Lo, I think, goes to Atlanta. Spencer Dinwiddie goes somewhere else. I don't remember off the top of my head, but regardless, D'Lo ends up in Atlanta, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Wait, no, maybe Spencer Dinwiddie went to Atlanta. D'Lo went to the Nets, and Johnson to the Lakers. I think that was actually the real trade that the ESPN analysts have drawn up. So, yeah, D'Lo, I think, honestly, the Lakers should probably look to keep him. I don't know. The Lakers, that front office is absolutely nuts. So you have no idea what they're planning. You have no idea what Braun's feeding into the mind of Rob Pelinka at all times. So, yeah, D'Lo, stay safe, my guy. I'm praying for you. Now, just to go over some minor names, Jordan Clarkson, obviously been playing in Utah for a couple years now. Obviously, professional bucket getter. I can't hate on this guy. I feel like the asking price for him is ridiculously cheap, and it's definitely, you could throw him on a bench somewhere, tell him to go with the second unit and go score the basketball. I mean, he could go play on a contending team right now and be extremely effective, I would guarantee. Tyus Jones has been linked to, I think the Timberwolves tried to trade for him. Washington said no. I think they're asking for second-round picks or something like that. I'm not really sure. But, Minnesota tried to trade for Tyus Jones. They said no. So there's that. Who else we got over here? Kyle Anderson, I think, is on the market as well. Kyle Anderson, obviously, he's a power forward. He can rebound. He can kind of shoot. I think his shooting form is extremely ugly. So, yeah, there's that. Now, Miles Bridges. The Suns are heavily linked to him, and I think the talks are getting more and more serious by the hour. So I think we could see Miles Bridges in Suns uniform very soon. That package should be very cheap, in my opinion. I follow the Suns more than most teams. I feel like that package would be probably Nas Little, maybe Keita Bates-Diop, a couple seconds. So, yeah, I don't think any problems going through Matt Ishby's mind when it comes to losing Nas Little and Keita Bates-Diop. So, I think Miles Bridges is on his way to Phoenix. Gordon Hayward, obviously, he's on a monster deal. But even in his old age, I think he's 33 now, he's still pretty effective. I mean, he's probably averaging about 15, 5, and 5, I think, when I last checked it. So I think you could throw him definitely on if he gets traded somewhere, he gets bought out, the Celtics honestly can't wait to go after that. I feel like the Hornets have pieces that they could throw to contending teams, and obviously they wouldn't get, anything really crazy for Miles Bridges, who's definitely fallen from his peak All-Star form a couple of years ago, and Gordon Hayward, who's now 8 years removed from his prime, and only averaging 15, but still. Have some valuable pieces there, I think. Some diamonds in the rough for some contending teams. And who else? Anyone else super crazy? Let's talk about a name I mentioned earlier, Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine has been on the trade market for what seems like forever. The Chicago Bulls have not been good since Lonzo was last on the floor for them. Lonzo, get well sued, my brother. Huge fan of Lonzo. I was a fan of that little run they had by losing 5 to the Bucks, but I'm still I root for Lonzo. Oh my God. So Zach LaVine, I think Brooklyn, LA maybe. I think it's time for him to move on. To be completely honest with you. The asking price is probably extremely cheap. I think the Chicago Bulls are only looking to keep probably Ayo, Dalen Terry, Kobe White, whoever. I don't even know who else they got really. Andre Drummond, I'm sure, is going to get moved. So where was I? Vucevic, I feel like could be back on his way to Orlando. I feel like the asking price for Vuce at this point in his career is very cheap. Orlando could get some perimeter scoring. Obviously, not much defense from Vucevic. I mean, never has been in his career. He's an Orlando boy. Not really born and raised, but he's been. He came there as a young man, backing up the Dwight Howard, and he left as an old man, an all-star. So, Vooch is definitely. I think Orlando. That's a very realistic landing spot for him, and I feel like Orlando starting not starting, but having Goga Bitadze as your backup center, and if you want to be a contending team, I feel like that's not a very recipe for success. So, Vooch, go back to Orlando, my brother. But yeah, continue on Zach LaVine. Kind of got sidetracked there. Brooklyn, I feel like that's a realistic spot for him. That's definitely a cheap asking price. LA, maybe New York, Philly, Sacramento. I mean, I think those are the only teams that I've seen linked to him. That the trade talks of Zach LaVine have kind of died down since he first went out. Why did Kenny Beecham trade out? Wow. Hold up. Bulls say Zach LaVine, in consultation with team and Clutch Sports Group, has elected to undergo season-ending surgery on his right foot. Wow. We just broke the news live here on the Agree to Disagree Sports Pod. So Zach LaVine is out for the year. You heard it here first. Kenny Beecham, Shams, you didn't hear from them. You heard it from me. You heard it from Anton. So yeah, Zach LaVine out for the year. So definitely look to him to get moved in the next couple days. I feel like, dang, that's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. Yeah, Zach LaVine out for the year. Crap. All right. Well, there's that. So, and the last piece of the dynamic trio of the Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, DeMar, an old guy. I'm a huge fan of DeMar DeRozan. I love what he does. Obviously, he doesn't play much defense. He doesn't shoot the threes, but god damn, can you shoot a mid-range? So yeah, he's on a big deal. I feel like Philly is the only team that I've seen linked to him. I feel like he should definitely try to get on his way out of Chicago. I really wanted that to work. Obviously being a DeMar guy, I wanted him to succeed, and just really hasn't happened in Chicago. There was a time when he was the most clutch player in basketball. There was a time. I think that was like 2 years ago now. There was a time. So I'll never forget that. And so yeah, Zach LaVine's out for the year. I'm the greatest NBA insider of all time. You heard it here first. Other than that, I tell you what though. Looking over the All-Star game, like real quick though. Looking over the All-Stars. Oh, your Florida Gators up 6 on the Texas A&M Aggies. Florida should make it to the March Madness, by the way. If they don't, I'm rioting. Also, speaking of college basketball, Houston is getting absolutely blown out by Kansas right now, 42-28. College basketball is this is a great day for college basketball. The Battle of the Blue Bloods, UNC Duke's on at 6:30. You also have Wisconsin Purdue late at night. You have Kentucky and Tennessee late at night. Texas just upset TCU. This is a great day. Well, yeah, I love basketball. What was I talking about? The All Stars. Yeah. I feel like the fact that there was no Sacramento Kings on the All Star ballot this year was kind of crazy. Dame being an All Star starter was questionable for me. Who else made it that was kind of questionable? Paul George. Maybe. I feel like that's where you slide into Aaron Fox. Maybe Sabonis. I mean, obviously. I don't like. Do the West have any? Any injuries for them? I don't think so. Maybe AD. Actually, no. I think AD will be back for All-Star break. The East, though, that's where definitely you have some many replacements. Who else made it that was kind of questionable about? Karl-Anthony Towns. I know that the Timberwolves are the number 1 seed, but he's the second fiddle to Anthony Edwards. Let's be real here. I know he had a 62-point game like just the other night, but they lost to the Hornets when Cat dropped 62. So are you really an all-star for that? In my opinion, you're not. I feel like Sabonis should have made it over Cat. I feel like you could have had a lot of people who made it over Cat, but maybe I'm just a hater. I think Cat changed the game in my opinion, so I can't really hate too much. As far as the East goes, I feel like everyone there kind of deserved that. Bam, had for him obviously. Julius Randle definitely deserved it, but he'll get replaced probably by Jimmy Butler maybe. Who else we got? I don't really know. As far as the East goes, but regardless, as far as the West is concerned, there were definitely going to be some All-Star snubs. But the East, I don't really think. I don't know who didn't make it that deserved to. Obviously, Trae Young. Trae Young probably should have made it. Scotty Barnes was in contention to make it, in my opinion. As far as, I don't really think anyone else, in my opinion. I think the committee got it right. Maybe you could have had Porzingis in there. You definitely could have had a third Celtic if you really wanted to, but you can't get too greedy. Oh, Kenny Beecham was very sad about Zach LaVine being out. Unfortunate. So yeah, let's wrap this episode up, shall we? So it's been a little bit of yap, a little bit of facts and yap and all this and that. I tried to rhyme, but it just didn't really happen. So, with that being said, my friends, this has been the Agree to Disagree Sports Pod. Glad to be back. Had so much fun talking hoops. And this has been the Agree to Disagree Sports Pod. Stay thirsty, my friends.